We play and call it work.
What's happening, Wargamers, and welcome to a review of the Betrayal of Kelth box set. So, as you can tell, I'm Mini Wargaming Leland, and joined by Mini Wargaming Steve. And yeah, we like doing our reviews.
We do, absolutely.
They're good fun, especially when we agree and disagree.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So as you guys know, we are reviewing Betrayal of Kelth.
I think we can both agree it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you're just looking at the value of the models itself.
Yeah, that's what I
great.
mean. Like, that's the big thing for me.
Now, for those of you who are watching this and don't know what Betrayal at Kelth is, first off, lift up that rock. It's kind of bright and shiny out there. It is a new standalone board game created by Games Workshop based around the Horus Heresy. And so it's, you got your hex patterns and you got your special rules and whatnot. But the big thing is that it is a miniature board game and it comes with a lot of Marines.
All of this.
Yeah, as you can see laid out in front of us. You're basically getting 3 veteran tactical squads, 1 unit of 5 cataphracti with weapon upgrades for assault, a praetor, a chaplain, and a contemptor dreadnought, and that is amazing.
Just that value alone on those miniatures is outstanding.
It's absolutely insane. In fact, I think Forge World went up the price on their site after this came out.
That's actually true. I ordered just the day before. And
yeah, that's right, you did. So it is fantastic value because in Canadian this goes for 180. I think it's like 150 American.
I believe so. Yeah.
So like obviously just go to your local game store, Games Workshop, and you'll get that price for whatever your region. But it is phenomenal value, especially when you consider these are not push fit.
That's the thing. Like the quality of miniatures is not what we've seen from the starter sets for the past 20 years.
Yeah, these are the same style that we saw with the Leviathan box set and the Stormclaw box set, in that they are legitimate sprues of models.
Yeah,
which is
like
really good.
with even actually a little bit better now because there's more options in these sprues than you would expect in your average tactical squad.
Absolutely.
The veterans alone came with, per 10-man squad, and there's 3 of them, a power fist, 3 different weapons. Oh, 2 power fists per 10-man, 3 different weapons, a heavy bolter, a missile launcher.
Melta gun, plasma gun.
Yeah, like there's a lot of options.
Combi weapons.
Yeah,
if you're looking for combi weapons, there are some great combi weapons in this set.
The Terminators, which I found absolutely outstanding. There's enough arms in this box set to give everybody lightning claws, everybody power fists, or everybody chain fists.
Now, this is my own personal grief. No right-handed power fists.
That's
for my own project, but I need
I
right-handed
actually
power
agree with
fists.
you on that one. Oddly enough, there are no right-handed power fists, so there's no way to give your infantry 2 lightning claws. You get 2 left-hand, or you get like 6 left-handed power fists in this box, and a bunch of lightning claws you can attach to the power fist, but no right hands. Yeah, it is grief.
But the models themselves are absolutely gorgeous. They're definitely up to the same par as Forge World. The only model that I would say probably doesn't quite hit that caliber is the Contemptor, because it doesn't have as much posability as the resin one.
Yeah, so everything is very well sculpted and designed on the sprue. The Contemptor is more of a hollow, almost push fit front to back.
Yeah.
But I mean, his
like a
upper
traditional
half,
dreadnought.
his upper half kind of works. His lower half, for me, was a little too static, a little too upright. So I actually cut one of my legs off and tilted it forward and had him kind of on one foot. It looked like a little more dynamic, because that was if you can criticize one thing, you're right, Contemptor was a little too.
And you can actually check out the work Steve did on that. He posted it up on the Facebook page, so you can definitely see that. So lots of good stuff there. Now the models are just one part of the game. And I mean, we could sit here, we could gush about the models all day, but that's not what we're here for. We are here to actually review the game itself and the way it plays. And don't sound disappointed.
No, I'm actually not. Okay,
I know, honestly, I'm just harassing you.
Honestly, I kind of, my expectation here was, it's a free board game.
You expected
I'm buying miniatures. I don't care about the board game. I'm glad to say that I was not bad. I was wrong. It's not a bad game.
We spent a day playing a bunch of games to make sure we had the rules, and you guys are actually going to be seeing a battle report. Unfortunately, Steve is not available to join me in that one, so you're going to be seeing Quark and I play that one, and we're going to be playing the scenario 6 just because we wanted to get as many of the contents of the board game on the table.
Into the scenario.
So you're going to see that. But I'm right there with you, Steve. I was expecting something slightly better than Dreadfleet. And we got something that I actually enjoyed this more than Space Hulk.
Well, for me is I like Kill Team. I like this more than Kill Team.
Well, it's cohesive rules.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, there's 6 different scenarios you can play in the game, And they range from taking maybe a half hour upwards to maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on card draws and just how the dice go down. So let's actually get into the mechanics of the game.
So for that, there's in the box you get a bunch of tiles for the game, which are flippable. They're printed on both sides for different kind of settings, and they all kind of like fit together because they're a hexagonal kind of set.
Yeah.
So you can make your own board if you want to make your own scenarios, or play through the scenarios with a little bit different kind of terrain, if you would.
Different loadouts
in every
yeah.
scenario. It's pretty cool.
Because there's no points attached to this, so you can actually load out your squad with whatever you want. Under the normal rules of a veteran squad. So you can take a plasma gun or a melta gun. There's no points restrictions to it. You can take a unit of cataphracti that all have power claws, for instance, or just give them all the power fist and storm bolter I guess combi bolter for Horus Heresy. So there's no restrictions in that regard, which is really nice. They have rules for all your basic war gear, which means you can do a whole bunch of different things, which is kind of cool in that regard.
I say deck out the sergeants.
Yeah, the sergeants
Keep some extra weapons in there.
Yeah, sergeants can definitely use some decking out and whatnot. But it plays really nicely, and I think the beauty of this is that it's an alternate activation style
I like
game.
that a lot.
Yeah.
And you can mess with your opponent's activation.
Yeah, so basically, when you're setting up, every hex has a basic volume that you can fill up. A bulk value, yeah. And power armor has a bulk value of 1. Cataphracti armor has a bulk value of 2, and then the Dreadnought has a bulk value of 3. And that dictates how many models you can put in a single hex. So generally speaking, you can have up to 3 power armor Marines, or 1 power armor Cataphracti, or the Terminator. And that makes up your unit.
Yeah, so every group of models on a hex forms a unit. So they all activate and move together.
Yeah, they activate, they shoot, they move.
But yet they can still separate or join other
yeah.
units if there's room on the hex.
Yeah, so you're not locked in. It means you can go and you can reinforce other units if a bad roll happened. And basically every unit then at the start of every turn, because the game is broken down into a ready phase, action phase, and then like basically an end step. And every turn, every unit on the table has 2 activations, which allow them to do an action, be it
move, run, consolidate,
advance,
assault, or shoot.
Yep, pretty much. And there's things on the hex board itself that can affect your gameplay. So for instance, if you run into rubble, you immediately stop. But the benefit is you get a bonus to your defense die. There's some scenarios that have barricades, some that have obstructions, and they clearly mark down on the hex maps what you cannot move and shoot through, which is really nice as well. Like there's very clear distinctions. And all in all, the alternate activation with the tactical points, it flows really nicely.
So you're saying again, it's fun. Flow is a thing, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Like it was, we played a couple of games, 3 games off camera.
Something like that, yeah.
And of course we're getting things wrong, and then you're picking it up, but you learn it relatively fast. You figure out the mistakes relatively. It's simple enough, yet complex enough where you kind of pick it up fast, and then you start thinking about how to mess with your opponent and what to activate first to mess with their activations. So there's a little depth to it too. It's not super easy either.
And when it comes to the whole activation of units and whatnot, there was a number of times in our test games where we would activate a unit, and then we would base this entire plan around still being able to get that other activation.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden something would happen, we'd lose that tactical point. Either the model would die, or other in-game effects, which we'll get to, will sort of come in and ruin that whole game plan. So you have to be able to build a plan that is...
Your lowliest bolter marine can really throw off your opponent's plans.
Yes, absolutely it can. And it's really nice. Like, in no other game involving Space Marines, at least on tabletop, have I felt like Space Marines have been as influential in the game.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I agree with you with that 100%.
Which is really
pretty cool.
Yeah, because you have to be able to flow and adapt, because one guy can completely throw off your entire plan. And I think that's one of the beauties of this game, is that it's more than just an I go, you go type of thing. It's I go, okay, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna take the chance and...
It's not quite chess, but it's harder than checkers. We'll go with that?
Okay, yeah, let's go with that.
The alternate activation is huge. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a big thing for the game.
So why don't we go through just a basic structure of how the game flows, just for people who, they want to know going into the video. So basically, at the start of every turn, you have what's called your ready phase.
Yep.
During that ready phase, you make sure all your units on the table, and a unit consists of models in a single hex, they get their full activation, so 2 tactical points. And that goes for the entire board, so my guys, your guys, and whatnot. You then roll for initiative. And the initiative is determined by rolling the attack dice that come with the game, and whoever scores more hits goes first.
Yep.
It's nice and simple in that regard. At that point, you also get to draw what's called a command card, which gives you certain one-off bonuses in the game, and some of them can be really big, some of them can be It's all very situational, which is nice.
All of them are useful, though.
All of them are useful.
Yeah, there wasn't
yes.
any cards like, I'm never going to use this thing. All of them can be useful.
Yeah, absolutely. So that basically encompasses your ready phase. It's getting everything ready, it's resetting the table, essentially, and getting ready to go. Once you get into the game, an activation, you basically perform one of the pre-described actions that we've already gone through. So it's like the advance, consolidate, run, shoot, that sort of stuff. And then it goes off to your opponent, and you keep alternating back and forth until both of you run out of activations. So if you happen to be steamrolling your opponent and he only has 2 units left with activations, and you have 4 units with activations, as soon as Steve would be done his activations, I would immediately get to go and continue activating my units until they're all gone.
So it's the whole thing where you it could be valuable to have single man squads, because that's a unit would have 2 more activations for your whole side, but
Yeah.
there's also strength in numbers.
Exactly. So, and let's get into that one then, because when it comes to the shooting and the assaulting, the unit activates as 1. So if you have 3 regular bolter marines, each bolter basically gets to fire 2 rounds, so you have 6 shots from a single unit.
A hex or a tile of 3 guys, a unit of 3 guys fire 6 shots, whereas a single unit of 1 guy is only firing 2 shots. So there's that drawback.
Yeah, and here's where that becomes important. The way to actually kill a marine is you have to get an equal number of hits through that are not saved.
Yes.
To equal to their stamina. And a basic marine has a stamina of 2.
So throw out the whole chart, the stat line you're used to for 40k, where you have your weapon skill, ballistic skill, initiative, tough. All that's gone. You have stamina, you have armor,
Yep.
and is
Assault.
that it? Assault, yes.
And bulk.
A bulk is for your trial places. Stamina is basically how many wounds you have. Assault is how many attacks you have when you fight in combat. And what was the third one? I said it. I forgot.
Armor.
Armor.
Yeah.
So a Marine, for example, has stamina 2, armor 2. A bolt gun shooting at a Marine has 2 shots. If he gets 2 hits, it equals his 2 stamina, so it would kill him. But because the Marine has 2 armor, he rolls 2 dice, and if either one of them is a shield, he negates one of the hits. So the one hit that Lee would have got on my guy wouldn't have been enough to kill him, so he takes no damage whatsoever.
Yeah. And
it's very simple. I know it's going to be confusing the way we're explaining it. You'll see in the battle report that he's going to do in a moment, but it's pretty simple. Yet I like it.
Yeah,
it's good enough.
And what I found really
Not
interesting,
better than it's good. It's good.
Well, when we first started playing, I was actually I remember your initial strategy was, well, why don't we just go up and shoot you to death?
Yeah.
And as we were going through the attack patterns and the shooting and whatnot, and we realized that you actually have to get 2 successful hits that get through the armor. Otherwise, the Marine just goes back up to 2 stamina.
Yeah.
You can't just do... Well, you can, but it's a lot harder than it looks like on paper, which was really...
I thoroughly enjoyed it, though.
Yeah, it's quite good. And then, of course, various weapons modify these. So melta guns, you get extra shots.
Or if you're within 3 tiles with a melta gun, you get no armor. Which is really cool.
Well, that comes in critical effects.
Oh yes,
right?
critical effects.
So that's the other element of all this. Every weapon, or most weapons anyway.
No, every one of them.
Regular close combat, don't think have a critical effect.
That's true, right.
So most weapons.
All range weapons and most special
combat, yeah. They all have what's called a critical effect. So if you roll a hit that has a little skull in it, you've basically gotten a critical hit. And if that happens, depending on what weapons you fired, you can get different types of effects. And I think what's really interesting is a weapon that is kind of ho-hum in the actual game, the bolter, is actually kind of amazing in this game.
It could be one of the best ones, because the bolter's critical hit, which everybody has almost, is if you get that critical, you can remove a tactical point off the unit you shot at.
Yes.
So sometimes you're shooting, not even trying to kill something, you're shooting basically to pin them down.
Yeah.
So you're taking a tactical point away, so that's one less activation your opponent has. Now, he can do it back to you, obviously, because everybody has a bolt gun, but you have to weigh where you want to try to kill, where you want to try to move tactical points. So I want to use mine before you get rid of mine. It adds a lot to the game.
Yeah, it actually adds an interesting element to it all, because it really makes you have to think about how you're expending your resources, where you're leaving your guys out in the open, because there are ways of avoiding the critical hits. For instance, if at any time they're taking what's considered an obscured shot against you, no critical hits can take effect,
Yep.
and you also get bonus die.
And that does happen more than I
Yeah.
kind of expected it to. It's really easy to get your shots obscured.
Yeah, and it makes a big difference. But it also means that you're now playing more defensively, and in some of the scenarios, that's not necessarily a good thing. Some of them you have to play more aggressively. So there is kind of an interesting balance between risk and reward in the game.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
So now that's just the bolter critical effect,
Yeah.
and that goes for any bolt weapon. So pistol, bolter, heavy bolter. There's also melt-a-guns, which, as Steve said earlier, if you're within 3 hexes and you get a critical hit,
armor.
the first target that is assigned wounds has no armor whatsoever.
Pretty cool.
So generally speaking, if you get hit with a melt-a-gun, a lot of the time you're probably dead. Things like the plasma gun allows you to roll additional dice at the possibility of overheating and blowing yourself up. You have your missile launcher, which allows you to roll additional attack dice depending on how many enemy models are remaining in the unit.
Like you hit the ground, exploded, and a bunch of frag went everywhere, and you get a bunch more attacks, which is really cool.
Exactly. And then, of course, you have the assault cannon on the Dreadnought, which basically allows you to keep rolling to hit until certain conditions are met.
Until the gun jams and blows up.
Yeah, and jams and blows up. So you can just completely riddle an enemy unit with shots, but there's a chance that you're no
You know
longer
what?
going to
The
have it.
Dreadnought itself has my favorite mechanic in this game.
Oh, is that the damage cards?
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into that then. So the Dreadnought, unlike every other model on the table, has a lot more survivability.
He has a deck of cards.
Yeah.
So when you shoot at him, you gotta draw a card and see what you hit. That hit his right leg, that hit his left leg, that hit his power fist, that hit his assault cannon, that hit his power core, that hit his body.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so
and they all have different armor values and
Stamina.
stamina.
Yeah, so basically every time you're drawing a card, it's kind of a roll of the die to see what you're actually hitting. So you can peg at it with 4 bolters, only to discover you've drawn something that has 6 stamina.
And you do
It's
no
like, well,
damage.
nuts to that. You can hit it with 4 bolters and then draw, say, the power core, which only happens to have 2 stamina and
Which
3
is very
armor.
easy to take out.
Yeah,
And it
the-
affects the rest of his systems.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the other cool thing. Every time you do damage to the Dreadnought, it loses some functionality.
Yeah, so you can like damage his power claw and he won't have that anymore in combat. You can damage a leg and he moves slower. You damage both legs, he's not moving anymore. Stuff like that.
Well, when you damage both legs, he can no longer move and use his relentless
Assault?
yeah.
Oh, so he can still move?
He can still
Okay.
move. He just can't move and shoot.
I
Which
haven't
is
seen him
a
get
special bit.
damaged very much, so.
Yeah, the game we played, his Dreadnought just kind of rolled right over me.
Oddly
So-
enough, Melta would have done fine. Chain Fist would have done fine.
You'd think so.
No?
You would think
Oh,
so.
no.
You'll see a bunch of stuff in the upcoming game. I will say this: that comment does not spoil what happens in the game, but it's definitely something you would think would have done a lot better. Because the Chain Fist reduces stamina to 1. It doesn't affect armor or anything like that. I'd much rather punch it with a Power
Oh.
Fist or something where it removes the armor on a critical hit.
Ew.
Yeah.
So you need a Chain Fist and a bunch of other attacks?
Yeah. What
Okay.
you do is you take a Veteran Sergeant with a Power Fist and then a Terminator with a Chain Fist and just have the 2 of them rail on.
They can take out the Dreadnought?
They can take on the Dreadnought. But yeah, it's a really, really cool mechanic. I kind of wish we saw that a little bit
Yet
more.
a simple bolt gun can take out his power core.
Yes.
And then every system has -2 stamina and armor?
-2 armor.
-2 armor.
-2 armor,
Which
yeah.
makes everything else a lot easier to break.
Yeah.
I love that system.
It's great.
It's actually pretty cool.
It's actually very similar to how monstrous creatures in Age of Sigmar work, where the more damage they become.
The weaker they get, which
Yeah.
I love that system as well.
Yeah, it's a really nice system.
Not
And
Scarbrand, though, and everybody else.
I know a lot of people are kind of neither here nor there on that particular system, but I do really like it.
Yeah, that part actually makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's
like
a
that one a
great
lot.
balancing factor. Now, there's another element of this game that we haven't really talked about yet, and that's the command cards.
I love them. They
These-
can. It's like, haha, you had a master plan. Too bad. Here's my card.
Yeah, it's basically both sides have 15 cards that they use to create a command deck at the beginning of every game. And that command deck can have all sorts of different abilities. It could be something as simple as one of your guys happens to have fray grenades, which gives them extra attack dice. Or it can be something as massive as the Word Bearer faction, for instance. If one of your guys will be removed as a casualty, you can actually play this card and roll one of the dice. And as long as you don't get a blank result, the guy lives, which is it's a big deal, especially if you're using the big named character. Because all of a sudden you have this just big beat stick that you thought, all right, I finally took him down. All of a sudden this card gets played. And it's like, oh, well, geez, okay. So we're going to go back and do this again. Or alternatively, there's another card that allows the Ultramarine player to choose what section on the Dreadnought is being hit in a melee attack on a critical hit.
So you go with the power core every time on that one.
And that can be a really big deal because obviously if you damage the power core, everything else is going to start snowballing. And every turn, you're drawing a new card. So you're always refreshing these things. And they just add a really interesting tactical layer to the game.
One of my favorite cards for the Word Bearers is quite a very simple one. It's Bound by Blood. When you when you shoot one of my units, when you nominate, so if Leland's shooting one of my units, I nominate which one of my guys he's hitting. But if I play that card, my two guys get Bound by Blood, and you have to roll to hit both of them. And if you don't do enough damage to kill both of them, nobody gets killed.
Yeah, so it mixes their stamina together, and then you have to kill it.
Like just little interactions like that can really.
It changes the game.
It is the game as far as I'm concerned.
If you happen to pull a clutch card, it can do a lot for you. Like for instance, Ultramarines have a card, Concentrated Fire, which allows you to activate a second one of your units at the same time as another one, and basically shoot into a single unit.
And Word Bearers have a card where you activate it, and your opponent has half as many attack dice as you normally would have had.
Yeah.
Which will counteract that card.
Well, I mean, I think that's oh no, that isn't shooting as well, yeah. So it's actually really interesting the way they play.
I like it.
It adds a really nice layer of complexity to the game.
Yeah.
Like it's a small rule
It's
system.
not
but
as simplistic as I expected.
yes.
I wish there was more scenarios, though.
Yeah.
I really do.
But you know what? That's one of the other things we can talk about. There
That
are
is the thing.
There are the discussions that this is just the first of many box sets.
The way this is laid out, you could very easily, and we're hearing rumors that this is the case, so it could be the case, where we're going to get a different, not Betrayal of Kelth, but what would be another?
Maybe Prospero Burn.
Prospero Burn, sorry, it's
That would
another
actually
box
be
set.
really
That would
cool.
be really cool.
That
yeah.
would be.
So more tiles that would mix with the board, more units, more models, more cards, more scenarios. So this is not, here it is, and that's all it'll ever be. This is very easable to expand upon.
Yes, absolutely.
Which I'm actually really excited for. I'm not really a big board game guy, but I'm going to play this one and I'm going to buy the expansions when they come out.
Yeah. I think that's the part that we're most surprised with. It took us by surprise.
Yeah. No, yeah.
I think when we were asked to do the initial review and do some of the test games, we kind of
All
looked
right,
at them
I'll do it.
You know, yeah, we'll do it. It's our job. All right.
I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, we actually had fun. Now let's talk about some of the potential pitfalls of the game, because every game does have pitfalls.
Nothing's perfect.
And the one that I think is kind of the biggest one for me is that it does seem to have the possibility of a snowball effect. If one force gets an early lead, it's very hard for the other force to come back.
With a dice game, and with the right cards, I agree with you. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're never out of the game, though. I don't think you're ever out of the game. Now, certain scenarios you can, oh crap, there's only a couple turns left. You're going to get to that door. I can't actually get to you. Okay, you beat me. I wasn't thinking about the scenario early enough in the game. Or if it's just a straight up kill thing, well, I keep whiffing my rolls and you keep making yours. Now you have 3 times as many guys as me. Unless you start missing everything and I'm making nothing but crits, you got the game. So
yeah. So it can snowball, and unlike some other games out there where there's leaving a lot more to random chance, when this game snowballs and you have the added advantage of the tactical cards and whatnot, you really feel it a lot more, I think. And that's not to say that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's
never concede. Even when your opponent controls 3/4 of the board in Monopoly, you keep playing out just to annoy him. That's a 5-hour game, not 1 minute less.
That's why Monopoly destroys friendships. But yeah, I agree with you. You're never down and out until your last guy goes down, because who knows? Maybe you'll get a lucky assaulted and you'll force a unit to
retreat. Yeah, maybe your opponent just crumble, but
maybe you'll get an insanely lucky roll and you'll.
Or you start pulling perfect cards for the situation that you're in. And your opponent does nothing really helpful to him.
Yeah.
Then again, all the cards are pretty decent. So
like I said, that's definitely one of the pitfalls, and I think it's not a major one, but it is one that could put people off from maybe playing the game if they have a bad first experience.
Gotta have some kind of flaw, right?
So, one of the other ones, and we've kind of touched on this a little bit, is replayability. And the scenarios as it is, if you just play the scenarios, I mean,
you can play for a few hours in one night and pretty much cover everything. But that's why I really am hoping for expansions, because your replayability, you're right, there's only so many scenarios until you're going to start making up your own. Which, oddly enough, I think with enough of these boards, you can set up like a mini Warhammer battle where you just use the same rules, but you make your own table and deploy, and then just kill your opponent.
That could be kind of cool.
That would be fun. I could see myself playing that outside of the scenarios, but yeah, I want more scenarios.
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, those are the two big flaws.
That's not that bad.
Yeah, like as far as board games go, the combat system is actually rather enjoyable. I did have a lot of fun with that.
It felt like playing Warhammer.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. So yeah, generally speaking, I do like the game. I love the models. I think it's great value for everything.
Oh no, the value right there is the biggest thing. You're getting a lot of. You're not getting this army or this army. You're getting all of these, which you can paint all one color if you like.
Yeah.
That is a huge bonus to this box set.
And I think that's going to be the big takeaway from this,
Yeah.
is that this is democratizing the Horus Heresy.
That's why
for
we
the
all
average gamer.
yeah, and that's why we all bought it. And
I didn't have money to.
oh, that's why most of us bought it, and Matt bought like 13.
He bought a lot.
And then we have this board game as well that is actually pretty fun. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
I got twice the value.
And it's going to be an exciting things for the game as a whole because, as I said, it's democratizing Horus Heresy. It's allowing people to jump into it, and it's
For a reasonable price, a good price actually.
Absolutely.
I'm loving that.
You're getting the core of an army right there. Which means after this, all you have to do is buy the vehicles.
No, it says they're veterans. You don't have to give them special weapons, and they're just tacticals. Like,
Yeah.
you can have tacticals here if you want, or veterans if you want. And
Well, that's actually the other cool point about this is that you don't even have to use these for Horus Heresy.
no, you're right. These are
If you're-
any Space Marine will work.
Yeah, if you're just looking to shore up your Space Marine army with some more tactical Marines and a Dreadnought, for instance, go have at it. It's still really good value for that one, simply because you're getting the more standout-ish armor. It's not your standard Mark V, Mark VI, Mark VII type armor.
What I think is the best part about this is you're not having to try to find a friend to split the box with.
Yeah,
Like if you want all the if you want all one, you have all one faction here. Like there's no iconography on these miniatures. There's transfers for Ultramarines or Word Bearers, but there's nothing etched on the models. So this is any legion you want, and you don't have to find an opponent to trade with.
yeah, and that's actually a really nice element of this box set because all the previous box sets have always been one side versus the other, and you're trading around, you're looking for those sort of swaps and whatnot. But yeah, this really is a starter army in a box, which is really impressive. And I can only hope that this is a sign of things to come for Games Workshop. We've had some pretty positive things in the past week or two. The announcement of more specialist games and whatnot.
Yeah.
More rumors leaking, and the release of the Betrayal at Kel for Horus Heresy. I'm really hoping that they've kind of turned a page in this regard.
It's different from what we're used to, and I'm liking it.
Yeah, and I hope this is just the start of something really positive. So. But there you go, guys. That is our basic review and feelings on the Horus Heresy
Thumbs up
Betrayal
from
at Kel.
Steve.
Yeah, definitely thumbs up. I would say if you're buying the box, play through the game.
Yeah. Oh, actually, do it definitely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done it unless I was told to, and I'm glad I was told to.
Yeah. I would say it's definitely a fun afternoon. I don't know if you'll get much replay out of it, but play through it. It's kind of fun, and I think it's enjoyable. Anyway, for all you Vault members out there, you can go ahead and click the link below. That's going to take you to the battle report that Quark and I did. So once again, scenario number 6, where everything's on the table, all the cards are there, and it's actually a lot of fun. It went a lot longer than I thought it would go. So that's gonna be a fun battle report to check out, and you'll basically see how the game plays, and hopefully get you interested in playing the game as well. If you're not already a Vault member, you can still go ahead and click that link. You're gonna get access to a 7-day free trial. You'll get access to everything we have in the Vault, and there is lots of content, like tens of thousands of hours worth of content. You cannot binge watch it all in one day, or in 1 week rather. That's how much content.
Not doable. I dare you.
And
Try
we're
it.
always adding more content.
Every day. Every day.
So definitely check that link out. Hopefully we see you stick around after that 7 days because we're always putting out more content, and we really do. We love all our members, really.
Absolutely.
Like it doesn't matter if you're Vault or YouTube. We love you guys. It is because of you guys that we do this. So hopefully we see you stick around. Anyway, this is Mini Wargaming Leland.
And Steve.
Happy Wargaming, guys.